Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the CD Racoola Show. Today's show, for your viewing pleasure, we'll be traveling back to 1932 to review The Mummy. Before we unwrap this Mummy film, I will tell you this. It is worth it to watch some of these old school horror films, especially some of the originals. I know that it's black and white, okay? It's still worth a watch in my opinion, especially if you consider yourself a horror hardcore. This Mummy film features one of my goats of horror, Boris Karloff, whom also played Frankenstein's monster and voiced the Grinch. Truly an icon for the horror genre. I did a review of that Frankenstein film as well, if you want to check that out after The Mummy, if you're in a mood for some more older stuff, you know. I don't know what you humans like anyway. I don't know if you like older stuff. I do. I'm a little older myself. He was rather awesome in this film, Boris Karloff, as he portrayed Prince Imhotep, who was resurrected by an archaeology assistant whom read the forbidden sacred scroll, bringing Prince Imhotep shambling back to life, you know. Imhotep is, of course, scouring the earth for a knocks on a moon, his lost love. Ooh, yummy. It's hard for me to knock old horror films, but I do think they could have put Prince Imhotep, all wrapped up in his rags, more into the movie. He just looks truly awesome in that form, and would love to have seen more in that classic look, all wrapped up like he was in the beginning of the film. That was so cool, you know, especially for the time, you know. I mean, not that Boris Karloff himself can't be scary enough with those hooded, dead eyes of his. I did like the staring scenes like this one pictured here. Oh boy, those were spooky, weren't they? Another thing about these older films that we don't have is all the blood and gore. This isn't the Terrifier, mind you, that's for sure. And since I just reviewed the Terrifier 2, it was actually going from one extreme to the other for me. You should check out my Terrifier reviews 1 and 2, by the way. It's something different for sure than this classical piece of horror film history. I did think this film dragged a little bit, even for an older film, but like I said, with the goat Boris Karloff playing Imhotep, that is what saved it in my not-so-humble opinion. The Mummy is one of those universal monsters that I don't feel like has really gotten his true horror remake of a movie. I want something from The Mummy that's going to really scare the dickens out of me. The Brendan Fraser era Mummy movies, though honestly, I thought those were pretty entertaining, were really more like action films, you know. While the Tom Cruise Mummy movie, I thought that was finally going to give the Mummy a real horror flick. I really did. I believed in Tommy Boy, but that film was kind of a mess and just frankly not that good, if I'm being honest. So when comparing these Mummy movies to this one, it kind of seems like this Mummy movie, the 1932, was one of the better films now, doesn't it? For sure. Especially when we're talking true horror and not action films. I know how all you action bros are, wanting your precious Vin Diesel to play the Mummy or something like that. Oh, action bros, when will you ever learn? So here it is. Let me pose this question for you guys out there. What is your favorite movie featuring the Mummy that's out there? Maybe I missed something, I don't know. You can't say the Monster Squad either, though the Monster Squad's mummy was kind of freaky looking, especially when he was standing in that closet in the boys' room. Do you remember that scene in the Monster Squad? I did a review of the Monster Squad if you want to walk the fresh carcass of your newly resurrected self over to that episode of the CD Racoola Show after this. It would behoove you. You know, the Monster Squad was a lot of fun. In closing here, I would dearly like to see more of the Mummy. Just not enough out there, in my opinion. And I think it has the potential, don't you, to be really, really scary. If done in the right way, of course. You know, you got to do it the right way. Especially if you got into the makeup and special effects, instead of cheesing it up so much with the CGI stuff. Remember The Rock as the Scorpion King? Oh boy, that was cheesy. All in all, though, I did have some bones to pick with this film, but who am I to give a poor score to any of the older stuff, especially featuring my boy Boris Karloff. So I'm going to throw it a decent score on the old scoreometer, just because I want to, and because I can. It's old CD's scoreometer. If you want to give it a better or worse score, go get your own scoreometer, for crying out loud. Okay, I have kept this episode under wraps for long enough. Get it? Wraps? Mummy wraps? Okay, little dad joke for you. Anywho, please like, share, and subscribe to the show. So like the Mummy, I can resurrect my YouTube channel time and time again for your viewing pleasure, of course. Speaking of nights when the dead walk the earth, please join me next episode when I review 1990's Night of the Living Dead. Unlike The Mummy, we have unlimited zombie films out there. No denying that. There's just tons. Food for thought. If you ever unearth an ancient Egyptian mummy, please don't read the cursed words from an ancient scroll. And if you're still stupid enough to do that, and you bring some kind of bloodthirsty mummy back from the dead, you better darn make sure you have my boy Brendan Fraser's number. I mean, you do have to admit he does have experience with dispatching mummies. Brendan is kind of like the Ghostbusters or Van Helsing of mummy removal. Anyway, just a random little thought for you from a random little guy named CD Racoola. Bye bye, bye bye.